So let's restart this topic real quick because clearly you can't get away without lying here. So go
Okay,
ahead.
so what's the topic at hand?
What do you want to debate?
I mean, I don't know. You're the one that just said that you want to debate with a topic in mind. So
Yeah,
what's the
well, do
topic
you
at
want
hand?
to restart the current subplot point, or do you want to restart the
Which
entire point, the entire debate that we
I'm
had?
like I'm curious. Like I'm just saying, what do you think that is?
Well, I think the entire debate is about the overvoid and its functionality. I think the current subplot is on if neurology is impossible. Like if determinist neurology is impossible. My bad. Let me clarify.
Okay. Do you just want to debate whether or not our actions are because you said that you can't do otherwise. Like you're not able to. You said
Yeah,
um
you can't violate your own neurons to do actions, yeah.
mm, no, that's not what you said. You said I don't want to, so I can't do it.
Yeah, you can't of your own volition, right, reject your neurons firing to commit an action.
Okay.
You can I think you can
Is that your premise?
non-violation no, I think you can non-violationally reject it, right? Like maybe like your nerve reacts, but I think consciously you can't make a conscious decision, which obviously co-aligns with my position. No,
Okay.
but if
So
you want the
your
argument, we can
premise is
do
that
like
you can't. Well, hold on. I just want to understand your premise real quick, and I want you to confirm that
no,
this is
I
your
never
premise
gave a
before we
premise. I
get.
can give a premise if you want.
You said okay, whatever. Give a premise then. What's your premise?
Yeah. So the argument would be something like this. Um, yeah. So there's a causal chain. Event B would never take place without an event A. A chain of A's leading to event B is the only possible way that an event B could ever exist. And so, to suppose that an event B is possible, regardless of an event A, is contradictory to the nature of metaphysics.
Okay, can you type this out for me?
Can I type it out for you? Why?
Mm-hmm. Oh, because I don't want you to be able to like move around on any of your semantics or your wording or anything like that. I want to make sure we have like a concrete example of what your argument actually is. I want a formulation of your argument is what I'm saying.
Sure. Do you mind if I
Because you gave it
shorten
in a
it then?
premise
Because I don't want
conclusion
to
form.
type out the whole fucking thing. Do you mind if I shorten it for you?
If you what?
Do you mind if I shorten it for you?
Sure. Yeah, you can shorten it for me. But just so you know, the shortened version is the version that I'm going to attack, and I'm not going to attack the version that you just gave.
Yeah, man, whatever suits your fancy. Let me uh let me find the server. Hold on.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
by the
so do
way,
you have a
for
problem with
anybody
this?
wondering, for anybody, for all events E, a preceding cause P, if P, then
This is a
necessarily
formal
all
equation of
events E.
determinism. Yeah.
Um, I mean, yeah, I think that I would have an issue with this. I
Okay,
think
what's
this
the
is
issue?
pretty. I think this is pretty trivial. I don't
What's
see the
trivial about it?
justification. I don't see the justification for a necessary for the necessity of all events.
I reject modal openness.
On what grounds?
There's no evidence for it whatsoever.
That's
Necessary.
not a grounds. That's an argument for ignorance.
I'm a proponent of necessitarianism, right? And under this view, okay, following this equation, there is
No, I'm just
no
saying that that's an argument from ignorance. That's okay. That's
calm
an
down,
argument from
calm down,
ignorance.
calm down, calm down. It's not no, it's not an argument for ignorance. Define that.
An argument from ignorance is whenever you assert a conclusion from an absence of evidence. Absence of evidence
Okay.
is not evidence of absence. So,
So are you saying the equation plus the rejection, are you saying the equation of determinism isn't some type of evidence?
yeah, that's exactly. I'm saying that your equation for determinism, if what you're saying is your argument or justification for the equation, that it's not informative and it's an argument from ignorance. Your justification is based on no evidence. So, an evidence of absence is not absence of, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. That's what I'm
Wait, so
saying.
what's wrong with the equation justifying the equation?
That it's just circular. It's not informative.
Yeah. Why is it a vicious circularity?
Well, hold on. I actually don't think I've ever claimed that it's any kind of circularity. I claimed that it
Well,
was
then
an
it's not
argument from ignorance.
problematic in some way.
It doesn't have, it's an argument from ignorance. So it doesn't have any, it doesn't tell me anything. It's not explanatorily powerful. It's just an assertion.
Yeah, but no, it's proving itself within the equation. What's your
That's,
problem with that?
yeah. And that's what I'm saying is that your equation is in your semantics and your worldview. It's trivially true. It doesn't inform me of anything. So it's not explanatorily powerful.
Wait,
It's not a
how
satisfying.
does it not
It's not a, hold
inform
on, stop,
itself of
stop, stop, stop,
anything?
stop, stop. Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. It's not a
You got
satisfying
it, bro.
argument for the justification of your worldview. So you concede
Repeat that.
it's not a satisfying argument or justification for your worldview for me to accept it.
Yeah, so why is your satisfaction not arbitrary?
Well, okay. Your standard for satisfaction is the one that seems arbitrary because you're the one that's saying an absence of evidence is evidence of absence.
No, I
Right.
didn't.
So
I said
just
justify
because I go into
circularity.
it, hold on. Just because I go into a cave and I don't see any bear claws in the cave doesn't mean that a bear doesn't live in that cave. Right. It just means that the bear didn't scratch up the cave at all. It doesn't mean that the bear doesn't live there. So an evidence of absence or absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Sorry, I keep on getting that mixed up.
Yeah, no, I think you're confused here. I'm saying the equation of determinism is the evidence for the equation of determinism.
That's not what you said earlier.
That's literally what I said. Then you say it was circular, and then I said, "Yeah, what's wrong with it?"
No, okay.
We have
What
the
you said
recording. We
originally,
can go off the
what you
recording.
said, okay, yeah, that's fine. We can just end this point then if that's the case. Do you have anything else that you want to bring up as a justification?
I mean,
If
this
not,
was
then
a
I can go
debate.
to
I
it.
don't know, man.
This was you challenged me.
You challenged me. Yo,
No, I
everybody here
didn't.
can acknowledge that you challenged me. You're the challengee, bro.
Nobody here can acknowledge that.
You said, "Oh, what's your justification for the overvoid?" That's what started this all, literally.
Bro, okay, that is a prior discussion that we had, and then
This
you
is
were
the
like,
same
"All right,
discussion. Off
we
the
can."
recording, you said,
No, it
"Okay,
is
well, can you
not. This is a
justify the second
completely
one?"
different debate that we have started and
Yeah,
started a recording on and got an audience for,
what's the
where we
evidence for that?
defined the outline at the very beginning was that we're
What's
going
the
to be
evidence?
arguing whether or not it's on recording.
Can you show me the timestamp for that?
Yeah, we could just do it whenever the recording's over.
Yeah, that'd be great because I think you're just yapping to yap.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
you got any other contentions aside from saying that you don't have problems with my circularity?
Um, I mean, if you're saying that the justification for the argument is is just the argument itself, then yeah, that's also not going to be explanatorily satisfying. So
Yeah, I mean that again, that's just arbitrary.
how is that arbitrary whenever I've given you a standard of
No
evidence?
criterion for what's satisfactory. No
The
objective
criterion
evidence.
for satisfaction is that you just have to give me an argument that is separate from the argument that you've originally given me that would necessarily lead to the conclusion of the argument that you have given me originally, or at least one of the premises that I would have to accept. That's my criteria for
What
evidence.
makes that satisfactory?
And I think that I've made that. Huh? It's my criteria for evidence. What do you mean? What makes that satisfactory?
Yeah.
You're trying to
So
convince me.
so it's fast satisfactory for you because it's you?
Yes, yeah, of
Yeah, I
course.
mean,
That's what makes it
that's just
satisfactory to
arbitrary
me.
again, like, again, you're just arbitrary there.
No, that's not what makes it arbitrary. I've already outlined that I wouldn't accept an evident or some absence of evidence as evidence because that's not evidence to me. And I gave you an outline hypothetical for why that wouldn't be
The
evidence to
argument
me.
wasn't
And you never
absence of
went against the
evidence.
hypothetical and you actively dropped the point to move on to the next point, which is this
No, the
contention, which is the
what
same contention with the argument that you didn't contend in the last point.
no, this is a horrible mistrack here. The evidence was the equation, okay?
Yes,
I used an
okay,
analogy.
okay, okay. And my exact gripe with your previous justification was that it's not explanatorily satisfying. You asked me what's
Yeah,
explanatorily
then you
satisfying in
went
this
down
case.
this, like, weird babble where you led to the conclusion that you're arbitrary.
No, you asked me why
Yes,
is that
everybody heard you,
explanatorily?
bro.
No. Okay, okay. What was arbitrary about it then? Tell me exactly what I said that's arbitrary.
It's based off your own doxastic state.
What does that mean? Break that
Your
down.
own state
I'm
of belief.
retarded.
Your own state of
That's my
belief.
own state of belief.
No
But
objective
I've given
standard.
you
Yeah.
but I've given you an objective standard where you would literally just have to provide some
I asked
evidence
why that
that
was
isn't
I asked why
the
that was
argument itself because it's not explanatorily satisfying. We can just keep going back to this.
yeah, and I
That's
asked why
okay.
that would fit the criterion for satisfaction, and then you couldn't say that anything to it.
You said why that would be satisfactory to me, and I said it's because it's my criteria of satisfaction.
Again, you're
That's what
falling
we're
back on
talking about.
arbitrariness,
We're
bro.
talking about satisfaction index to me.
Yeah, and that's arbitrary. Like, why are we debating this on some arbitrary field if your original contention was
This
that
isn't some
your modal
arbitrary
openness
field,
claim was
Ave.
true?
If your opponent is me, you're trying to convince me,
Wait,
and
remember,
you're
you
trying
were
to
the one who
argue.
claimed the modal openness. You were the one, bro.
What?
You were the
No,
one
I
who
didn't.
claimed the modal openness.
I said why does this have to be the case? Why is this necessary? That's
I
not me
said I
claiming
reject.
anything.
No, I said I reject
Me
modal
asking for
argumentation.
justification for your position isn't me affirming the negation of your position
No,
automatically.
I
What is
no, no, I
this?
said I reject a modal argumentation when you brought up a modal argument, and so you're the one who claims modal openness here, not me. So I gave an argument.
I think
You're
that's
saying
just
my
a horrible
argument is wrong
mistrack, and
because
I'm
you
going to
feel like
dismiss whatever you just said, and we can move on.
it's
I'm going to
not a
bring up.
mistrack. It's literally
I'm
what
going to
you
bring
said.
up. Yeah, I think that's just a mistrack,
I mean,
and
that's what you said
I'm not
verbatim,
going
bro.
to acknowledge it, and I'm not going to acknowledge it because you're just trying to confuse me, and I'm going to move on to the next point.
I'm trying to confuse you by saying your
Yes,
own
you're
argument.
trying to
Okay,
muddle
cool.
up
Go
the
on.
semantics, and I'm going to move on and not let you
All right,
muddle up the
go
semantics.
ahead,
Is that
bro.
okay with you?
You got it, bro. Go ahead.
Cool, nice. Okay, so my next contention with your position overall, and this isn't going to be a direct point at your argument, it's just going to be a point at your overall position, is the fact that you say that we're not able to go against our mental states, right? So you made the claim originally that if you say that, oh, I don't feel like
Voluntarily.
it, so I
Or
can't
you
do
can
it.
add voluntarily.
What?
I said voluntarily.
So you
I
said that
just
we
added
can't
your own
voluntarily
words.
change our mental states.
Yeah, I added
We can't
every word.
voluntarily change our mental states,
Yeah.
is what you said.
Well, you can't voluntarily act against your mental states, is what I said specifically, but you get the gist of it.
Yeah, okay, well, I think that neuroscience directly combats that claim.
But yeah, go ahead. I
Have
can
you
be
heard of
fair.
David Goggins?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can't find this. So there was a study done by a neuroscientist on David Goggins' brain. And so there's an area of the brain that's responsible for, yeah. So there's a region of the brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, AMCC, which is involved in persistence and willpower, and it's associated with preventing age-related decrements in cognitive performance. So this is basically like the area of your brain that tells you to like go against yourself. So it's the area of your brain that's responsible for pushing forward human survival. So we see that in people who actively go against what they want to do in their day-to-day lives, so like people who want to eat a lot, people who don't want to like exercise, people who uh just generally, oh yeah, hold on, fuck. I'll send you the article real quick before I just start talking. But yeah, generally we see that this area of the brain is larger with people that are constantly like going past what their brain wants to do, right? So like whenever we see like long distance running athletes running ultra marathons, right? Everything in their body, everything like their neurosignals are constantly signaling to them to stop running, stop running, stop running, stop running. But according to your premise, which you laid out in the very beginning of this, which I mean, not necessarily a premise, but your position, this would just directly contradict the semantics of your position, ignoring the whole determinism argument, which didn't go through.
Are you done there? Can I respond?
Yeah, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, so can you show that the prefrontal cortex became brain dead during this instance?
I've never made that claim.
Okay, well then I would just say that the prefrontal cortex, which is used for logical decision making, is what's working against this cortex when it comes to making the decision of stopping or going, right? So you may
Is
have
there any
some
research
neural
that shows that?
pathway within what that the prefrontal cortex uses logical decision making. Yeah, there is.
Okay, well, can you show me like a certain neuroscientific study then?
Yeah, I got you, man.
That specifically for the claim that you made that the prefrontal cortex is the cortex that directly combats the AMCC. I'd be impressed since this
Yeah,
research is
no,
actually pretty new.
that's just an inference from the claim that prefrontal cortex is what's used for logical decision making. So obviously,
Yeah,
it's
so then
not
I
just
don't I
making a
don't care.
decision.
I don't care for some general study that's just going to say that like yeah, the prefrontal cortex is responsible for decision making. I don't care for that.
Well, then why should we accept your study?
Well, my argument literally just hinges upon the function of this area of the brain. So
Well, no, that's just special pleading then.
no, it's not. You made a
Yeah, it
claim
is because
that
you're
this
saying your study's
you made
finding
a
your
claim
argument. Yeah.
you made a claim that this specific area of the brain is responsible for what combats the what
No,
I'm
I
not even
didn't.
sure what other yeah you did. You said the prefrontal cortex is what
No, I
combats
said the